Good run at it today. We were full pads coming off our NCAA mandated day off yesterday. Had good energy. I think some guys are starting to make moves. And this is always, to me, in season, coaches always talk about make your biggest improvement between week 1 and week 2. I kind of agree with that during the season, but I think your biggest overall improvement as a football team actually happens between your first scrimmage and your second scrimmage. So we scrimmaged our first time on Saturday. Our second one's going to be Friday night under the lights. And so I think this is when we've got to make our biggest improvement. And we had a bunch of team reps on Monday in the stadium. Wednesday, today, we're in the stadium for a bunch of team reps. Let y'all stay a couple periods so y'all can see some of it. And then tomorrow's going to be some speed work, and then Friday we're going to get after it. And this is going to be our biggest scrimmage of the year. It'll decide Friday night. We'll decide, kind of who we're going to play with and who we're not going to play with early on. We'll have a little kicking scrimmage probably on Tuesday. With that, I'll open it up for questions.
Specifically, what do you like? What's jumping out at you?
Yeah, I think our guys are eager to practice. I think we have a really good mentality about practicing. Like, I haven't had to jump start them the last 2 days, Monday and today. And they knew, I told them up front, hey, this was going to be a deal where I wasn't going to jump start you, our coaches weren't going to jump start you, that you had to, I told them, hey, it's bring your own juice today. And they knew Monday and they knew today we were going to be long practices. Day before an off day, day after an off day, they knew we were going to get after it, and they had really good energy. Both of these practices on Monday and Wednesday, some ebb and flow, and that's really what you're looking for when you get into a camp or a spring ball situation. If everything's one-sided, you really start to worry. We've had some positive plays. I think a couple of things is offensively, we've got to be able to run the football better. Defensively, we've got to keep the ball in front of us better. Those are two important pieces coming out of the day.
This time of year, as you say, you're figuring some things out, so you start narrowing down depth charts, you start shuffling the lineup a little bit.
So really the deal is if guys are ready to play, okay, let's take a transfer or a freshman or maybe a redshirt freshman. If they're ready to play, then we got to figure out, okay, they're physically ready to play. They're able to take the everyday of college football. Now, how can we best utilize them? How can we put them in the best possible position? Okay, so we're trying to shuffle our O-line. We're trying to figure out how we can get our best 5 players out there. Y'all probably saw that today. We're trying to shuffle our receivers around a little bit. I feel probably really good about 4 of those guys up front. I'm not going to get into names, but I probably feel really good about 4 of those guys up front. And we've got to find a 5th one. Who's going to be our 5, 6, and 7? At receiver, I feel really good about our first group, not necessarily about our 2s. Our 2s they've got to make plays. Quarterback battle still up in the air. I think all 3 of those guys did some good things today, but they put us in some bad spots as far as taking sacks and turning the football over. So we've got to get better at that. Defensively, really, I've got a good feel of what our 2 deep is on the D line. I think we're going to be versatile on the D line. You've got to have a couple extras. So I think we got to get up towards 8 to 10 guys that can be ready to play. I like our first group of linebackers. I think our second group of linebackers are coming on. Safety is a position that every rep we get is going to be important between now and then, just because we've got so much inexperience at that position. I think the older corners have played well. We need those younger guys. The Mayos, the Fortunes, those guys got to keep coming because we're going to need those guys.
A little surprised by what you're getting out of your D line, or did you expect that?
No, I think system-wise, the system that they're running right now fits them. It's a little bit of an undersized group, so we're moving them. I think Jordan Leslie does a really good job from a fundamental standpoint, coaching those guys and getting them to play hard, getting them to play with their hair on fire. I think that's a big piece of defensive line play in general, just getting those guys to play full speed every single rep with great hand placement and great pad level. And I think he's getting that done. So I'm not overly surprised. I thought you could see those guys getting better. You can see them getting better as we went through the spring. I think it's continued in fall camp.
Neal, health-wise, where you guys at? I know it's been a little bit of time.
We're not in too bad a shape. I think we got a couple guys beat up today. We got a couple guys that are fighting some shoulders that If it was a game day, they could play. They're limited in practice, but I think at this point, knock on wood, we're in pretty good shape from a health standpoint.
You mentioned your offensive line. There were some significant shuffles there. Did you like what you saw out of that
I think
shuffling?
we moved them. Yeah, we moved Sills around a good bit on Monday. Wasn't real happy with what we got out of our really our center and position in the scrimmage on Saturday. So we moved some people around. John Hughes is a guy that's making a move, so we're trying to get him some more reps. Sills is a guy that we feel like is versatile. We can play him at any spot, really, center guard or tackle. So Monday, moved around, had some positive results. Today, I think it was a little bit of a mixed bag, so I'll have to watch the film for sure.
You have positions on offense and defense that have body types that maybe don't match what was here before. How do you, especially on defense, I guess, but how do you make that work? Is it just for the time being, or are you trying to
You
get
talking
guys-
about body types?
Yeah, just I mean,
Yeah, really the only thing that when on the transfer, you asking about from a 3-4 to.
I mean, I'm just curious, like personnel wise.
Yeah, I think the one spot that you don't, it wasn't necessarily in the defense last year was that bandit position, that hybrid outside linebacker, a guy that can rush off the edge and drive and play in coverage. I think that was probably the one position that we're trying to figure out defensively. If you look at it, Taj Austin is a true 5 technique. They didn't really play with the 5 technique in the past. Somebody that was a true defensive end. So Taj Austin came in as a signee, and then Reuben Jones is that as well. And we slimmed down Pooler to get him to be a 5 technique as well. So really, from a fit standpoint, as far as defensively, the only one that we're trying to create is probably a bandit that wasn't on the roster before.
Would it be maybe the only one on offense being that S back or the high use tight end or whatever?
Yeah, well, if we had everybody healthy right now at the tight end position, we'd be okay. They had good bodies here. I think from Logan Timmons is a guy that's put on weight. We brought in Knipper to play that S back, but that's probably the only one. We needed some length at receiver, so we were intentional about adding that.
With the tight ends, 2 of them being in green for the majority of camp, might we see that S back employed more? Really?
Yeah, I think it's fair. Yeah, I think it's fair. Those guys got to continue to come on. We've in the scrimmage type situations, even today. I wanted to get those guys as many reps as we could because there's unknowns. Like Logan Timmons has not played a whole lot of football on the offensive side. He's been a really good special teams player, but hadn't had to play on offense. Knipper's new to the program, so I wanted to see how they can block in space, can they protect, can they do what we need out of that position. So yes, and Michael Laughlin is making steady improvements as well.
Have you had the chance to see much from the new punter yet?
Yeah, so he's hit some balls. Y'all saw him in warm-ups. He's the real deal. He's got to get accustomed to what our punt looks like and the steps and all that kind of stuff. But he's really talented. He's been really good. He's eager. He's been a fun guy to be around, and he's as good at kicking the ball inside the 10 as anybody I've been around.
Does Sales have a ability for snapping? I know it's a bigger body size the centers are. And
Yeah. He said he played in high school, and played as a sophomore in high school. So we just started doing. He had a couple loose snaps today. He probably played about half the time at center on Monday, and I usually remember the bad plays, and I don't remember having a bad snap on Monday. So we're just moving around. We're not sure exactly what like I said, we know who our top 4 guys are. Right, we're going to move those around, and then we got to figure out who our 5th guy is going to be, and who the 5th guy is going to be will determine where those other 4 guys play.
And the Hughes kid coming over, I mean, he showed up ready to play, right? I mean,
Hughes,
yeah.
he had a really good summer. He's put on about 15 pounds over the summer. Strength was really good. He was well coached at junior college too. I think that's a big benefit. He was well coached at Navarro Junior College.
And what do you say on the myth of the benefit of left-footed punters?
Well, I'll say this, man. It's difficult to catch a left-footed punter unless you have one on your team. Okay, so because the trajectory of the ball and how the ball comes away from you is different. So that's the first thing, and it's a positive to have both the ability to have a right-footed and a left-footed. That adds some things to when you're preparing from a punt return standpoint. It creates some issues because your blocks could come from either side, all those type of things.
Neal, what do you think of your punt kick return?
So, kick return, I think we got some guys that are really natural. I like our ability at punt return after the catch. We've got to do a better job giving them some space.
I know you said it's still ongoing, but quarterback battle still up and down pretty much.
Yeah, there were some really, we hit a bunch of deep balls today, but we're inaccurate with some underneath stuff. And so, and we've thrown the ball well on downfield shots. We've had some success in camp, and all three of those guys throw the deep ball pretty well, and we've got some length on the outside. But we got to get more accurate underneath.
Josh, can you tell, I guess, the differences in being 26 and Australian, I guess?
I haven't been around him enough to know. He is a little older. I haven't been around him enough. I can't talk about his maturity level, or give me a month or so, figure him out.
The fifth offensive lineman besides Hughes, I guess, who you're really looking at?
Yeah, so Hughes, Barrett, Stilley's a guy that y'all haven't heard me say his name much, but every time we put him in a situation, he performs well. Really does. He's not overly tall, but he's got really long arms. His arms are really long for a guy that's 6'1", 6'2" at most. He knows about the offense up there probably as well as anybody. Those would be the two main guys right now, probably.
How do you feel about the camp that Evan Staley's had?
Yeah, my expectations are really high for Evan, so my expectation he makes every kick, so he hasn't made every kick, so. But I think he's been solid. He's been really good at kickoffs, field goals. We've worked him with a couple of different holders. That's the other thing with Josh, nobody really talks about him. He's a 3-year starting holder at LSU. So he's really kind of solidified that spot as well. And that was something that went into our decision making, because as an experienced holder, we didn't have anybody on our roster that ever held in the game. So he's kicked better since he's gotten with a consistent holder. So I'm pleased with him. Can he be better? Yes.
With the NCAA rules limiting fall practice or preseason camp practice, have you gotten as much done as you can?
Yeah, you just have to. Really have to take full. You really have to take the walkthroughs. You got to get the most out of your walkthroughs. You have to. And, it's about mental reps. I get the rules. I'm not going to complain about them. I get them. Similar thought process when we talked about the transfer portal. I'm not in a mode of creating legislation. I want to know what the rules are, and then we'll play by them, and we'll use them to the best of our ability. And that's what we're doing. We'll practice every time they allow us to practice. Every time, if they say we can scrimmage, we'll scrimmage. After that, we're going to get the most out of these walkthroughs and these meetings we can. They give you enough time. I'll tell you the rule, that suggestion I would make, I wish we could do OTAs. I wish we could do an OTA. I've been watching the NFL Network at night, and they have those practices where they bring, I saw where the Bills and the Panthers, saw a picture of David and Will together, and they do those practices. Well, I think at college, you should be able to do that. I think that it doesn't matter if it's a FCS school or a Division II school. I think you'd be able to come up and in a controlled setting, be able to do 7-on-7. Maybe it's not a full scrimmage. I'm okay with that. Maybe you can do a 7-on-7 period. Maybe you can do a blitz pickup. Maybe you can do some team periods that are controlled where you're not going against your own guys. Because to be honest, in college football, if anybody tells you anything different, I don't know. I don't know about it. Because when you go against yourself every single day in the spring and every single day in fall camp, you don't really know. Like, if you don't score on offense, is that because you're really good on defense or because you're really bad on offense? I don't know. I mean? Like, if you score every time, does that mean you're really good on offense or not very good on defense? I don't know. You know what I mean? So, and I don't know how I got on that, but anyway. Anybody else?
Hey Neal, so if this week is the most improvement from scrimmage 1 to scrimmage 2,
It needs to be.
yeah. Next week, obviously, no game, it's not game week, but it's classes are underway. So what is your normal process as to what has to happen next week?
Fall camp cutoff is on Wednesday. First day of school, we'll give them off. That'll be our off day next week. So fall camp is cut off on Wednesday. Monday, we'll have a really good practice, very similar to what you saw or what we had today. You all saw the beginning of it, but it continued at that same pace. And then on Tuesday, we're going to get a bunch of special teams, a bunch of live special teams work. And then we'll get some young guys, some tackle reps, some guys that maybe haven't got as many reps. That'll happen on Tuesday, off day on Wednesday. Then JMU prep will start on Thursday, and then we'll do a mock game on Saturday. Take the guys. We got so many guys that played, so I think it's important we do that.
Do you have the number you need for a game?
As far as what players?
70 people, you play with 50.
No, I don't.
You mentioned Friday, the scrimmage being where you might start sorting some things out. Do you anticipate the quarterbacks are at a spot where you
I
might
hope
be
so.
looking at?
Yeah, I do. I hope so. Yeah, we're going to do a bunch of live work. I think this week it's going to be a good indicator. Kind of how I do it is it's broken down in segments. So like you get through a segment, usually scrimmage at the end of that segment kind of says where we're at. So by the weekend it says where we're at. So hopefully coming out of that we'll have a good idea.
What's the process like in doing that, figuring out those guys, the meetings with the coaches, and you ever have
You don't about
disagreements?
picking the quarterback? Is that what you're
No,
asking?
just in general, they're picking the guys that can play, the guys.
Yeah, so you start, go through, and I go around the room and I'll say, hey, play tomorrow. Give me your rotation. How you gonna play? All right, and I'll have my thoughts. We do a production grade every day. We do a plus minus effort grade every day. We do a production grade every day. So those are cumulative. We keep a running chart of them, and then you go by feel. As a coach, you're supposed to be a professional, so you should be a professional evaluator. Doesn't mean you get it right every time, but you should be pretty good at it. And so we'll go around, figure that out. From there, we go to, okay, we get 70 on our travel roster. What's that look like? And then the next piece of that, which I think somebody asked the other day, is you go and you got to figure out how you're going to use those four. If you say, hey, player A needs a red shirt, then you go about figuring out, okay, is he a guy that we need to try to get into 4 games this year? And if that is a guy, then we got to figure out that process, because that's not just, hey, you go play the first 4 games. There's some science to that. So anyway, thank y'all. Appreciate